Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. If you watch my show, you're in my corner. Okay, today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night. Holloway versus Oliveira. Explosive card top to bottom from the prelims to the main event. Yeah, this card had a lot of first round finishes, which I love. I love quick fights. I wish every fight was quick. A lot of you know that about me. So yeah, this episode it's a post-fight rundown of the main card, and yeah, let's get started with. I'll save the main event for last because that was epic ending. No one saw coming. So yeah, I'll start off with. I'll go up the ladder with the main card. Yeah, the first fight was a women's strawweight bout with Valerie Letourneau versus Marina Moros, and yeah, man, I'm eating my words with this fight. I thought Marina Moros would just walk in and get a takedown and get an armbar, maybe work her boxing, then an armbar, or work her boxing towards a knockout. I thought she was just going to steamroll through Valerie Letourneau. I thought it'd be a first round finish, but yeah, it was Valerie Letourneau getting the takedowns, getting good dominant positions on top, and beating her to the punch in the stand-up, and en route to unanimous decision victory, 30-27, or well, it was 29-28, and then 30-27. Yeah, this was just Valerie Letourneau was everywhere in this fight. She was able to dominate ground, stand-up, everything, and the third round, Moros really went for it. She went for broke, which I give her a lot of credit for. I think Moros will come back from this loss. She's still someone to look out for in the women's strawweight division. But Valerie Letourneau is definitely in that top 10 now, and she definitely made a statement. Yeah, so good job, Valerie Letourneau. Yeah, then also in the main card in the lightweight division, we had Oliveira Mercier versus Tony Sims, and Oliveira, he basically laid on top of Tony throughout the whole fight. Yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot done here, and this was the new UFC record for lowest number of significant strikes in a match with three, where it goes to a decision. And yeah, it was 30-27 on two of the judges and 29-28. Yeah, Olivier, he won the fight fair and square, but it wasn't all that exciting. And that's my thing about Olivier, is I'm a fan of him, but man, he can either have a good finish or a really boring fight. And in this case, it was a boring fight. But you know, it's just one of those things, styles and his opponent and how does everything play out. It's not like these fighters go in and go, oh yeah, I'm going to have a boring fight. It just happens sometimes. So, you know, I cut him some slack. And, you know, he was the runner-up on the Ultimate Fighter Nations. So, yeah, he wins. And he definitely represented Canada in this fight. Yeah, then also in the lightweight division, we had the guy who won the Ultimate Fighter Nations, Chad Laprise versus Francisco Trinaldo. And yeah, Francisco Trinaldo, I did not factor in his striking skills, his high-level striking skills on my pre-fight show, because I picked Chad Laprise to win this. I thought Chad Laprise, you know, just having won the Ultimate Fighter Nations and had couple impressive victories since then, I thought, you know, Trinaldo was just that guy that was just there to be stomped on by Chad to build up Chad. But boy, am I wrong on this one. Yeah, Francisco Trinaldo, he worked his striking very well, and he got a first round victory, TKO punches, first round. And yeah, Chad, he didn't have an answer. I mean, before the knockout, he did not have an answer. He got beat to the punch, no pun intended. But yeah, I hope Chad watches replay of this fight and learns from his mistakes. I'm a big Chad Laprise fan. I'm glad he won the Ultimate Fighter Nations. Um, and yeah, I think if anyone can bounce back from a loss, it's him. It's his first loss ever in his pro MMA career. Yeah, so keep your head up, Chad Laprise. I hope you're watching this. Yeah, then yeah, Francisco Trinaldo, he's definitely on a big win streak right now in the lightweight division, and I say he definitely deserves a guy who, well, somewhere in that, if there was such thing as rank 15, 16 through 20, I would say give him one of those guys, if not the number 15 guy. I know the rankings just go up to 15, so I say, yeah, definitely give Francisco Trinaldo some guy, not a top 10, but someone outside the top 10, but, you know, up there in the rankings. Yeah, Francisco Trinaldo, he's definitely a veteran, and, you know, he has good ground game as well as stand-up. He can do everything. Yeah, then in the welterweight division in the main card, we had Patrick the Predator Cote versus Josh Berkman. And, yeah, this one I called spot on. I mean, I figured Patrick Cote would win by a unanimous decision, but I was pretty close. I was getting close, but you know, Patrick Cote did win this, and he won TKO punches round 3, and it was a brawl. Josh Berkman went for it, so did Patrick Cote, and they're just they made it a slugfest. They worked their boxing skills. Yeah, the footwork of Patrick Cote has gotten better over time, and his Patrick Cote's grappling skills have definitely gotten better over time. Used to be Patrick Cote is nothing but striking, but he has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now to back up his ground game if it goes there and he needs to use it. But yeah, Josh Berkman is a veteran, and he's a tough, gritty guy, hard to stop. And yeah, Patrick Cote, you know, he worked him those first 2 rounds and got the knockout in the 3rd round. Yeah, TKO punches round 3, over a minute into it. Yeah, so good job, Patrick Cote. He's on a, I believe, 4-1 his last 5 fights, I believe it is. Yeah, he's looking great. Yeah, then in the co-main event, also in the welterweight division, we had Neil Magny versus Eric Silva. And a lot of you know I'm a big Neil Magny fan. Some of you see my pictures with me and him on my Facebook page. Great guy, real friendly, real easygoing, easy to talk to, approachable. Can't say enough good things about Neil Magny. He trains with Brandon Thatch and Kat Zingano over in Colorado, so he has good training partners. And he fought yeah, Eric Silva in this co-main event, and I picked Neil Magny to win, and I thought that I don't remember if I picked unanimous decision or knockout on this one, but yeah, you know, I think it was unanimous decision. But yeah, you know, Neil Magny, he got a split decision when a lot of people were booing that because it should have been, I think, 30-27 across the board for Neil Magny. He dominated each round. You know, he worked the ground game real good, and then there's, I believe, some reversals in this fight. So yeah, Eric Silva, he's no slouch on the ground, but Neil Magny's ground game has gotten tremendously better since the Damian Maia fight, and he was able to reverse every time he was on the bottom. And yeah, he looked better, and he looked okay in the stand-up. You know, just I think over time, hopefully he'll learn how to use reach more, because he has that reach advantage over many of his opponents. You know, punching and kicking. And yeah, Neil Magny, he won this. It was 30-27 and then 29-28 for the other 2 judges. And yeah, it was 28-29 and 29-28 and 30-27. Yeah, this was a pretty intense fight, because being a Neil Magny fan, I was on the edge of my seat, because at any moment Eric Silva could finish people. And Neil Magny, I think, played it smart, good technical fight, and good to get back in that win column. Now he's 8-1 in his last 9, so good job, Neil Magny, in the welterweight division. And then, yeah, now let's move on to our main event, which was Max Bless Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. And yeah, this was TKO retirement. First round, 1:39. Yeah, Charles Oliveira's shoulder was hurting him, and he just waved off the fight to his opponent and the ref. So technically, it's a technical knockout. And yeah, Max Holloway had a, for some, a lackluster ending. For me, that's exciting because you didn't see it coming. It just sort of happened, and you're like, ouch. He must be in pain for him to wave off the fight like that. But yeah, it happens sometimes. I remember Dan Evanson versus Czech Congo, I believe it was, or no, it was Pat Barry versus Dan Evanson. I believe it was, where Dan Evanson's legs just went out, and he waved off to the ref. He couldn't take it anymore. And in this case, there were some grappling exchanges, and then Charles Oliveira was up against the cage, and something happened with his shoulder, and he had to wave it off. And Max Holloway was looking good on the strikes. He was starting to tee off on Charles Oliveira. Max Holloway, his takedown defense is, top notch, and his striking is world class. He says striking is world class, and it is world class. So there you have it. That's the post-fight rundown to the main card. Stay tuned for my next episode, which will be a pre-fight episode for UFC 191, Demetrius Johnson versus John Dodson for the UFC Flyweight Championship of the World. And then you have a great heavyweight clash co-main event on there, Frank Mir versus Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky. And so stay tuned for that episode. Until then, see ya.